Get ready, get set, and hold on. It's going to be one heck of a ride. Good morning. Welcome to the Mouth of Matuszak show for today, Tuesday, August 26th, 2014. And I'm your host, Paul-Gregory Matuszak, and you have me for the better part of an hour this morning. Or if you're listening to the podcast, better part of an hour at your leisure. But for the live listeners out there, we're about to get started. So let's wake ourselves up with a little bit of sunshine from Powdered Zombies.
Look what you've done. Yeah, looking at the country is not what I intended. Gotta start to make a change before the never-ending story of a failed nation, one straight out of luck. Like $1 million Tyler Perry movies, you suck. All you little have life, you're still selfish and want more voting in your self-interest now instead of the core principles that made this country both honest and true. Free to speak, worship, pursuit of your happiness too. With all the money you fly, you gon' be needing a big freeze. Hate the size of the Fed like Jesus hated the fig tree. As the spending goes up, you gotta borrow some more. Borrowing from the Chinese like, oh my lord. Instead you just tax more, you're increasing the size of the federal government. Yeah, the Georgia surprise, you'll be done like Detroit. Man, no, you ain't coming back. Forget it, I'm out, I'm muzzle loading my
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. I got tired of rolling over in my grave every day, making a monarchy of my beloved US of A. You little glitches need reminding of what we were before, and the sits that led us up to revolutionary war. High taxes to the throne without a voice of our own. Rule top down from the crime we wanted left alone. Oh, y'all so soft, you're taking it year after year. We were fighting red coats while we're brewing our beer. Now I'm drinking, spitting ciphers through a grill made of wood. That's how it all went down in G-Dub's neighborhood. Packing cannon balls like powder hammers with cock, lock, click, clack. The loss of backs like the attack. The chicken littles who don't know me, listen, don't let it twist. We kick the A's of the B's for much less than this. So don't deny the historical climbing out of the mud. Follow me, believe the screed, plant the seeds and be free. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again.
On the woman at 85 when it's really at 12. Hear me, classes in session, you can't be safe out the bell. What happens when you keep printing more dough? Both parties have gone green like their name was Al Gore. Yeah, but right now you're high. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my knickers. What, knickers? No, it's okay. I can say knickers because I wear knickers. Man, you think I say that? What's wrong with you? I'm just talking about my show back then. I rock with my shoe. But let's go back to the first point I was trying to make. The degradation of our freedoms and a country at stake. The government's getting grand while private sector grows smaller. Pour one out for your homies, cause here comes the cold water. Unemployment still rising, our debt's growing still. The only change you're gonna get is being left with the bill.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. Mr. America, whoa, whoa. Mr. America, whoa.
Yeah! Got it all pumped up and ready to go for this Tuesday, August 26th. And for those of you living in Arizona, as well as a couple other states, today is primary election day. So get out there and support your preferred party members. Or if you're independent, get out there and vote the primaries for the people who you think would best represent your views and get their name on the ballot for the general election in November. I do have to give a little bit of endorsement here. My friend Chuck Wooten is running for U.S. Congressman for Arizona's 2nd Congressional District. And we would really like to see him on the ballot for the general election. For those who haven't been following that rather interesting race, he's going up against another Air Force veteran. Chuck Wooten is a retired non-commissioned officer, career Air Force airman. And when he finished his time up, he went into the private sector and did some great things in private business. So he knows business, and he knows how to run a successful business, and he knows leadership. Can't do that many years in the military and not learn some aspect of leadership, especially in the Air Force when you talk about your non-commissioned officers. Because when you look at it, the majority of their commissioned officers, especially the pilots, what are they really in charge of? They're in charge of a bird, a metal machine that they fly around. And usually there isn't much more than that. Whereas the enlisted guys, the ones who run everything on the ground to make sure when that plane lands, it's ready to turn around and go back up, and make sure it's fixed, to make sure it's armed, make sure its pilots are taken care of. So the real personnel management, at least in fighter units, is done by the non-commissioned officers when you really look at the way things kind of run there. You know, it's similar in the other militaries too, where the rubber meets the road, or the track tread meets the dirt in the Army. It's the non-commissioned officers that make the fight happen. The officers decide what needs to be done and blah, 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 and they issue the orders. But it's those leaders who are in direct contact with the men who get things done, or men and women, I should say. So Chuck Wooten has some leadership ability, and he knows business. He's a successful businessman, and he's real integrated into the community. He's a stand-up guy morally, politically. He's very quick to say, look, I have my moral views, but I go with what the major consensus is of my constituents on a lot of the hot-button issues. So he understands that his morals may not be what his constituents would want. Now, the majority of the people who support him have similar morals to his. So it works out for him in that way. And when you look at the majority of Congressional District 2 in Arizona, you're talking about an area that has a lot of rural area, a lot of ranchers, a lot of farmers, some small towns, small businesses, a large military community as well. And they have border issues because CD2 goes all the way down to the Mexican border. It covers Cochise County, which is in southeast Arizona. It also covers a little bit of Pima County, which the part it includes is the area around eastern Tucson. So, you know, they have he has a little bit of part of that city as well. So he's got an area that should be largely conservative. A good portion of it is not densely populated, but by and large the voters in that hold the land masses are conservative. But you have that tight-knit pack of urban dwellers there in Tucson who tend to lean the other way. The last couple of races between Ron Barber and whoever his contender happened to be were all close. They could have gone either way. And there's a lot of discussion of what happened. Like when Jesse Kelly was running, there are allegations that Martha McSally may have gone around and told her normally right-leaning people that were supporting her in the primary that she lost, don't bother to vote in the special election because if you don't vote and Ron Barber wins, I'll beat him. And that she kind of put out that message allegedly. So naturally, put Ron Barber in. Well, now he's the incumbent. Well, then when she faced off against Ron Barber barely beat her in the next couple elections. So now you've got Martha McSally running in a primary against Chuck Wooten and a couple other people. And Chuck Wooten is, by and large, much more conservative than Martha McSally. In fact, Martha McSally is pretty much a Democrat running in the Republican Party. If you really look at her platform. And it's really hard to look at her platform because she won't speak on any of the issues. She has refused to debate. And right now, there are a couple of polls that show that Chuck Wooten, if there was an election held now, if it was a general election, but among all the people who are running, that Chuck Wooten would barely beat Ron Barber, and Ron Barber would beat Martha McSally. So that's kind of what's going on there. But I'm going to give my endorsement to Chuck Wooten because not only is he a serviceman who is then gone, not after retiring from the military where he did leadership, but he's become a business leader and done a lot of great stuff. He really knows what the people want. He's really in tune with his potential or his future constituents and really in tune with what the district needs and what the nation needs as far as an economic shot in the arm, stronger border laws dealing with border security, reforming immigration laws to allow the people who should be allowed to come here legally an easier way to get in, whereas those who do not want to come here legally, they want to do it through the illicit means, tightening up on them. And there are some people who are coming here illegally who would rather come the legal route, but it is so arduous that there's no way that they're going to get through that red tape in a reasonable time period. So you reform that, and you're going to kind of change that up a little bit and make it a little bit better. That's not by any way, shape, or means giving amnesty to those who did it illegally. It's just that those who have not yet done it illegally but are thinking about that option because the legal option is too difficult, may get a better chance to do things the right way. And some of those are the people that we do want here. So, Chuck Wooten knows about that. He knows about the violence along the border, at least there in Arizona. I know he and I have discussed certain things that go on there, such as the sex slavery, the drug trade, the sweatshop slavery, the rape trees that occur, and other violence, as well as just the people that have difficulty making it through a tough terrain, especially in the summer, dropping dead and piling up, and et cetera, et cetera. It's really a bad, not necessarily a really fun topic for a Tuesday morning. But Chuck Wooten knows about that. He really knows what that part of Arizona needs. He knows what the nation needs, and knows where those two marry together and what where they overlap. So it'd be a really, really good choice. So I highly endorse Chuck Wooten for Arizona's Congressional District 2. But I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm going to say that if I still live there, that's where I used to live, folks, that I would graciously and very quickly drop my ballot with Chuck Wooten checkmarked. And he's worth the time taking a look at least. Take a couple of minutes and check what his stance is, and then make your way to the ballot. So, what more is going on out here other than, of course, as I mentioned, today's a primary day for Arizona. We've got all kinds of neat things. So let's hear from Eleanor.
You don't have a right to know everything in a separation of powers government, my friend. That is the difference between a parliamentary government and a separation of powers government.
Yeah. What is or what is not going on in Washington? Well, let's do a little sunlight shining here. For those who aren't aware yet, and I'm trying to figure out how anybody who's paying attention doesn't know about any of this. Well, Obama, from his vacation, took a small break, just long enough to authorize spinning up some potential military actions in Syria, including manned and unmanned airstrikes and drone strikes, and potentially putting other forces in play in Syria. And, of course, this has to be due to James Foley being decapitated. And, as we said, there's serious allegations, suspicions that the former British rapper Little Jin, or Elgin, or Ginny, or whatever he's calling himself these days, turned jihadist, was the one who actually did the chopping. Don't know for sure, but he's high on the list of suspects. So we've got that, and the British government is really supporting those allegations right now. They have the intelligence, and of course, this guy coming from their country, they probably know a little bit more about him than we do. You would hope. Maybe not. But that all going on. And then, where was Obama or his representatives with James Foley's memorial service or funeral? They were absent. Just like they were absent from Margaret Thatcher's memorial service, and just like they were absent from the Major General who was killed in Afghanistan. And those are all funerals that you would expect, if not the president himself, some representative of the White House to be attending. Yet, there were multiple representatives of the White House, as well as several other celebrities, all gathered in or near Ferguson, Missouri, for Michael Brown's funeral yesterday. And that looked more like a three-ring circus than a funeral. A lot of things going on. Folks, not only was this young man's funeral a rather solemn event, which should have stayed a solemn event, turned into a three-ring circus, media and government both involved, as well as every race baiter out there who wants to turn every issue into racism and cause division and derision in our country. They were all there and using this as a prop. The boy died. His family is in mourning. Couldn't you just let them have their day of peace to say goodbye to the young man? I'm sure that even if he was up to no good that led to his demise, if that happens to be the case, I'm sure he did some good things in his life. I'm sure he wasn't all bad. If he was bad at all, we don't know. So if he was a good boy, as everybody is trying to claim, and he was killed unjustly, then why would you want to stain his memory by turning his funeral into a circus? And if he was up to no good, why couldn't you just let the family have their time to say goodbye and remember at least the times where he did bring joy and good? I find it repulsive and sickening and disgusting that his funeral be used to such ends. And there's a good article over at BuzzPo about the whole circus. There's another article on BuzzPo I want to draw your attention to that also talks about about Michael Brown's funeral, and that's the fact that, look, folks,